Welcome everyone. Today we have a mini-series. In total we're going to have 3 panels and this is panel number A. We have 4 gentlemen here to talk about everything related to the urgency of carbon reduction and the link related to renewables. My name is Anouk van der Steen. I'm the head of the innovation department at the Netherlands office Taipei and happy to moderate the panel today. I'm going to ask every one of you to introduce, give your name and the organization you work for, and please share already your first key message which you think is relevant for today's panel. Dr. Peng, I would like to start with you.
Okay, my name is Jimin Peng and I'm a founder and CEO of Weather Risk. Actually, I'm a meteorologist. I forecast the offshore wind farm and also all of the renewable energy. My another role is the Taiwan Climate Partnership. I'm the general secretary because lots of the ICT industry, they promise, i.e. 100% will be the renewable energy. So we organize together to want to find more renewable energy in the future. Yeah, 2 roles.
Thank you, thanks Dr. Peng. Alvin.
Hi everybody, my name is Alvin. I've been involved in the renewable energy for the last decade, and my previous role was in maritime logistics and also in the oil and gas sector. And in the turn of the year in 2024, I started with a new company called Jumbo Consulting Group, and this company is very much focusing on procurement, contracts management, and legal advisory. And we help our clients achieve financial close and trying to build the wind farm in Taiwan. And of course, my emphasis for the last for this panel was to try to explore the urgency of carbon reduction and how offshore wind farm might be the solution towards this.
Thank you, Alvin. Ethan.
Hi everyone. I'm Ethan. I'm from PwC, New Energy Business Services, and previously my working experience, most of that was in foreign banks and for almost 14 to 15 years. And PwC New Energy Business was formed by different products from the PwC internally, including the auditing, including test, including financial advisory. So overall, why PwC would like to form this task force is to help their clients in the whole value chain of the renewable industry to help them to achieve what they would like to achieve. So that in today's panel, I would like to share what PwC would like to do, and we all focus on what we can achieve all together for the renewable industry.
Thank you. Wen.
Hi, I'm Wen. I'm the Director of Renewables and Sustainability for NERAS. And NERAS is a consultant strongly committed to sustainability development, and we work with the developers and also corporates to go on their sustainability development. And I think for today, I will share more our experience, no matter it's for the renewable energy project development or the corporate sustainability development in this panel.
Thank you. Well, let's start with immediately cut the case. So what is the urgency of carbon reduction? I'm going to invite all of you. I will start with Elvin. What do you feel is the urgency of carbon reduction in today's world?
I mean, in obvious situation where you see these days extreme weather patterns, we look at typhoon, super typhoon, we see drought, flooding, and these are all causing disruption to the ecosystem all around the world. And of course, we also see a growing awareness of this climate change initiatives all over the world. But question is it enough? Do we need to do more? And I think we as individual, corporate and government together, we need to have all our hands and really put a substantial effort to make it happen. So at least that's my strong belief in.
Yeah, those are the urgencies there.
Yes.
Good. Wen, what is your idea about this? What is your
feeling? I would say this question just let me remind my college time, probably about 10 years ago. At that time, people still think about, maybe climate change is not true. But nowadays, we have much more evidence and studies and assessment to tell us, okay, there is an urgency for climate change and we need to take action. But those transitions or those actions actually take time. Things will not happen immediately. Everything we want the infrastructure, we want a project, we want renewable capacity, but it takes time, maybe 5 years, 10 years, or even 20 years, 30 years, for help us to head into the future we really want to. So I would say the urgency is that we need to take action right now because if we keep waiting, no matter it's about the capital or it's about your construction, they will become too late for you if you take late action.
Yeah. Thank you. Dr. Pang, from your side.
Yeah, actually, I just come back from COP28, and the global promise net zero before 2050, and it's very long. And however, 2030 should be maybe reduction about 45% at least. And right now in Taiwan, the government proposal is about 24 plus minus 1. So actually, it's far behind the global trend, and such as kind of the policy can make the pressure of all of the Taiwan ICT industry, because Taiwan is a country, they need to export all of the ICT industry product to the global. So I think for the industry side, it's a huge pressure for the enterprise and also the competition in the future. Some of the company, they already got the pressure. Their competitor, oh, my country is net zero, but Taiwan is not the net zero. No clear roadmap about this one. So some company already got the pressure for this.
Yeah, thanks. You're really putting indeed talking more related to Taiwan, and we are indeed in Taiwan, so it's good to make that link. Ethan, how is your?
Yeah, I think that we can tell about that in two different perspectives. I think first one is for the micro perspective. I have some figures to share with you. I think from 2000 to 2022, I think the average annual decrease rate regarding to the so-called carbon intensity. The carbon intensity is CO2 divided by the GDP. So that the decrease rate in the past 2 decades is around 1.4% only. But if from now on we would like to, achieve the global warming limited to 1.5 degree, from now to the 2050, we need to have 17.2% average annually regarding to reduction of the carbon intensity. So meaning that we need to have around more than 20 times decrease rate compared to the last 2 decades. So that I think that's from the micro perspective. And from the macro perspective, from now on, I think everyone heard that in Europe there is a CBAM, and in USA there is a CCA, meaning that there is more and more direct cost regarding to the carbon direct to all of the enterprise. So from the two perspectives, I think definitely that's very, very urgent, and that is significant for us to discuss regarding to the carbon decarbonization.
Yeah, and Dr. Pang already mentioned the COP28, where a lot of these topics been discussed. I know, Dr. Pang, you visited at the time. Can you recall the key takeaways?
Okay, the UAE consensus, we can say it's kind of the harmony conclusions. Nobody reject this one. It's a harmony, so we say it's a consensus. And actually, such as kind of consensus, the most important thing is transition away the fossil fuel. And in the fossil fuel countries, they promise transition away. It's a hard work. And however, the most important thing is the renewable energy should be tripled before 2030. Should be tripled. And also the energy efficiency should be double. So I think it's a major conclusion for the UAE consensus. And however, all we know is 3 times. However, triple. And however, in some country, it should be 5 times, not only the 3 times. For example, in Asia, because the volume is very small, so it's very easy to reach the triple. But actually, what we need is not triple, it's 5 times. That's why we should know, we should need about this one. And about the UAE consensus, I think all of the COP is political, especially it's climate political things. But right now, because the fossil fuel is transitioning away, so right now we will go back to the real things. The real things, there was 2 things, is a carbon market, and the second thing is a renewable energy, how to develop it. So I think in the future, all of the COP, especially in COP29 or COP30, everybody will focus how you promote the renewable energy. Although the nuclear, hydrogen, and also the CCS is a kind of option inside. And however, it's good because it's another option beside the renewable energy.
And then if you're talking about the 3 times, you're saying like, okay, some countries should look at 5, 6 times.
Yeah.
So you feel every country to have their own look at like how far they can go.
Yes, not because the developing country, maybe it should be 5 times. European countries, they already exist. Probably right now, their goal is 3 times, it's triple. So I think the different countries should choose their best way.
Yeah, also depending on the state that they are. Okay, great, thanks. Ethan, I am not sure if you visited COP28, but I guess you have been reading / hearing quite some about it. What are your main takeaways?
I visited COP28 virtually.
Okay, good, virtually, good. You're a virtual member.
I think there's some sharing with you because I think there is a global climate finance framework principle met in the COP28. I think there are some significant figures I think we can refer to in order to achieve our decarbonization mission. So I think the first one is that the principle is to make the finance available, accessible, and affordable. So the example in this framework is that overall we have to invest US dollar 5 to 7 trillion annually in green energy by 2030. I think that is significant. And the other one is that we have to have the collective action. And that is to developed countries, they need to help and to individuals to mobilize US dollar 100 billion from now to 2025 in order to make the developing countries, they to make actions. I think for the other 2, actions is that to have an opportunity for all, and that is that in country level, the robust invest pipeline by a commitment of achievable transition pathways need to take. And the final one is to delivery at the scale. The example raised by them is that private sector finance, and that is the largest source of the financial flows to climate actions and to scale up the clean business models and to deploy it of the climate technology. I think the overall the message delivered from the COP28 related to finance is very significant.
I'm intrigued by your point related to the finance part. So you say it should be available and accessible.
Yeah.
So what is the difference, and how can you explain like both sides on and why both is necessary?
I think available means that for all of those people, organizations, governments, they are affordable to contribute for the funding flow. They need to provide. And for accessible is that the fund is there, but it's not everyone can access for that. So those G20, those G8, they need to take a responsibility to direct those financing flow to those countries or organizations they cannot achieve to take that.
Yeah.
I think there's a difference, I know.
And do you have one tip on how to reach that?
I think from the message delivered by the COP28, that is that all of those, developed countries, they need to take action. They need to take a responsibility because they are already there, and they need to take lead for us to follow.
Yeah, great, thanks. When maybe your COP28 key takeaways?
Yeah, I would say for me, this COP28, a very important keyword will be transition. And for there is historically first time all the parties, you can say all the countries, parties, they agree to transition away from fossil fuel. It's kind of echoing to Dr. Peng just said. And also it's mentioned it need to be in an orderly and also like kind of a fair, adjusted manner about that. So I think it's important for us to think about, we need to imagine what will be the no fossil fuel world, maybe in 20 years later or 30 years later. And also go on this journey, no matter you are government or corporate or like civil society, you need to make sure everything have this order and things happening in a good, smoothly way. So there's a lot of work we need to do, and we need to do the self-assessment. We need to identify what are the key targets, what are the key tasks right now, and maybe after 5 years and 10 years, we can go on, we should adopt little by little, and gradually we can head into that's the goal we really want to do net zero emission time.
Great, thanks. Alvin, your key takeaways from
Yes.
COP28.
I wish I could be like Dr. Peng that have the opportunity to go to Dubai for this event. But unfortunately, I'm in Taiwan, but I follow quite closely as well. My three main takeaways. First thing, they have 10 meaningful pledges in this COP28, and of which 3 is relating to Energy Transition Fund. I think that's a key for me. And number 2, there's also this leaders around the world has also agreed in this fund called Climate Damage Fund. So this fund is designed to help countries who is so-called adversely affected by climate change. So in terms of flooding, in terms of drought, things like this. And UAE has pledged to organize this fund to a $30 billion fund, and they themselves has pledged 250 million into this fund, and they wish to have this by the end of the decade. So number 2. And the third one, again echoing Dr. Peng and Wen, is that because of the dilemma between the challenge of energy supply and security versus the need for reducing effects due to climate change, fossil fuel was for the first time added into the transition discussion for the first time, and it was actually written in the final text. However, because of fossil fuel states like Saudi Arabia, who their main source of income is still very much fossil fuel, they could not just stop exploring fossil fuel. So instead of the keyword phasing out, it became phasing down. So this is a bit of a iffy thing for me. I mean, I felt that we could do more, we could say more ambitious stuff, and then of course things will not be as we will not be able to reach the target. But in the end, if we have lesser ambition, we will never reach the target. Yeah, so that's my key takeaway. And of course, if we reduce it, reduce the half of this oil and gas supply in the world, then we will be able to limit our global warming by 1.5 degrees. So this is my 3 main takeaway.
Yeah. Actually, I totally agree with 3 gentlemen. And by my experience, because it's my 11th COP. Before that, all the COP is politics. Temperature rising 1.5 degree, 2 degree is a politics issues. And the second is the energy transition, which will phase out, phase down, or transition away the fossil fuel. And however, another one is loss and damage, and it's also the rich and poor country, they should give transition the money. And I think right now from COP28 is reset all of the feeling, because all of the politics, I mentioned the 3 politics things finish. Then we should check the renewable energy policy, global start tech, and calculate the temperature rising, and also the energy transition, how you did. Actually, every country will review each other yearly. So I think it's a very good contribution in COP28.
How is this review organized? Do you have insights on this? If you're talking about the reviewing of how countries around the world are performing?
I think the COP28, although the UAE is a fossil fuel country, but the president of the COP28, I think he's quite young, 50 years old, and also I think he's also very excellent about the global climate negotiations. But I don't think COP29 or COP30 will be better than these times.
Okay.
So, however, after the politics issues, so everything should go down to the real renewable energy promotion, energy transition, and the carbon market.
Yeah. Well, all of you are talking about indeed the collective part, individual, corporates, and governments like needing to work together. Maybe interesting, Ethan already touched upon it a little bit. Like, are there any noticeable changes or actions taken from investments or finance or corporates that following COP28 that you feel like, okay, these are good examples? Maybe I can start with you.
Yeah, sure. So, it's just Dr. Peng mentioned about like he have like really amazing 10 years, 11 years experience for COP. And I come back to Taiwan, start my sustainability consultant career since 2016. So that's just 1 year after Paris Agreement. So at that time, when I facing all the local, Taiwanese corporates, they have discussion. They know that they knew that, but they are dead. They don't really take action at that time. Probably some of like front runner, they know they need to do something. And like years after years, we have Paris, we have now COP28. It's become more, we can witness more corporates actually take their green action. I have a very good example. 3 years ago, there's an international technology company. They asked me to help them to do to search for renewable energy supply in Taiwan. So which means they need a corporate power procurement agreement. And so they need to have the renewable energy by themselves. And just last year, there's another international technology company come to me, but this time they are asking, they want their supply chain to procure renewable energy. So it's not only from themselves. Okay, of course, they are really big one and they need renewable energy. They committed to it, but now they are pushing their commitment to their supply chain. So which means more and more, maybe tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, gradually, they need to adopt more renewable energy. And of course, all the supply chain are under certain pressure about that, but they know this is the future. And when we talk about about like urgency or carbon reduction, so they all need to go on this journey. And so they also come to us and they want to know how can help them to secure their renewable energy supply. And also they need to take much more sustainability relevant action and like policy they need to adopt to fit into their business interests, and also they need to transition, they need to transit their business model to fit this more green journey as well.
Yeah, but that means that we are talking about many companies,
yeah,
thousands that probably don't have like an idea where to go, and they need to implement the green actions. As,
yeah, I probably not 1,000, but at least hundreds of the company in Taiwan, and in Taiwan we call it like carbon anxiety, which they are nervous they cannot get the renewable energy supply maybe in next year or maybe in 5 years, but which means they need to, as I mentioned in the beginning, they need to take action now because those renewable energy supply will not be there immediately. They need a corporate to also invest in them. They need to sign a contract. They need to make all the renewable energy project developer understand, okay, there is a market. And also, they need to have a strong signal from the corporate side. Yes, those corporates in Taiwan also need renewable energies. But yet, I will say from my observation, that's true because from this global supply chain, from all the change of the nowadays business model, you need to prove that you are actually doing action. No matter, okay, you probably don't have renewable energy supply at this moment, but you need to tell your client that I already signed a CPPA, I already signed certain contract, or I already have my plan to secure maybe in 5 years, in 10 years, I will have that amount of renewable energy supply in my production line.
And do we talk here about all industries, or is it specific industries that are more or less relevant for like implementing the green move?
I would say if you look into like IE100 initiative, they are cross different industry. But in Taiwan, of course, we know that technology company industry are more strong here and they are more fit into the global supply chain.
Yeah.
But now they're more like a general manufacturing industry. They also feel this pressure as well. And it's about their time, I would say, and will gradually spread out for more industry, and it will become as a whole ecosystem that everybody need to get on this role.
Yeah, and I think here you also really see the value of Taiwan, right, as a manufacturing base, and indeed a lot of companies here supplying to the rest of the world. Yeah, so I get your point. Thanks a lot. Ethan, from your side, any actions, finance or investments, corporate industries that you've been seeing since COP28 or lately that you feel are remarkable? Or
yeah, definitely. I think I totally agree with Wayne. I recall that around 5 or 6 years ago, when I was still in the foreign banks, and I think at that time I make an introduction or case study sharing with my internal colleagues, and I talk about investors they get more and more attention regarding to the principle of the ESG regarding to foreign investment, and I also talk about that in the future the sustainable or green financing will be the key. And at that time, I think no one cared about that. But you can observe that within around the 2 or 3 years in Taiwan or in other countries, the attention is very much booming. I think just in So I think the action taken by the corporate or other side is very obviously, and I would like to share that from the two angles. I think the first one is from the equity angles. That's what I just mentioned. For those institutional investors, I think for nowadays, I think they have more and more pressure regarding no matter it's from internal or external protocols. When they make their investment, they definitely need to follow and to report to the board saying that they make the right decisions for investment. That is to, no matter it's related to sustainable, no matter it's related to CSR, to ESG, or to the green. I think more and more institutional investors, they focus on that. I think this is from the equity side. And from the debt side, everyone knows that nowadays for those lenders of bankings, when they make their lending decisions, now they are starting selectively for their credit exposure. Meaning that for now, we often see that more and more banks, they don't want to, from their internal guidance, they cannot support and to fund for the fossil fuel companies anymore. And it's not only from their internal, guidelines for their personal, their self responsibility regarding to the ESG or green, it's also from their pressure, the pressure from their scope 3 decarbonization requirement. They need to achieve that, meaning that when they make their lending to their clients, they need to know what kind of the level of the carbon intensive from their clients. So that no matter from the equity side or from the debt side, I think that will direct the impact on those actions taken by no matter it's financial institution or corporates.
And what do you think is the main push here? Is the push coming from indeed the customers, or indeed those people that have the money and lend it out to the banks, or is it the push coming more from the government? Like what do you think is guiding this direction?
Yeah, I think the main pushing definitely from their clients.
Yeah.
And the clients is those players in the industry. Like what Wayne just sharing, the pressure is from the whole supply chain, from the whole value chain. And that in terms of equity investor or for the financial institution, I think they are, just indirectly to get the impact from those pressures.
Yeah.
Of course, they have their own goals to achieve.
Yeah.
So that I think the main push is definitely from the clients.
Yeah, yeah. So by setting the goals, and maybe Dr. Pang and Elvin also mentioned, okay, having ambitious goals is has impacts all over the supply chain / indeed related to equity funds. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Good, thanks.
Indeed.
Elvin, your views on this topic?
Yeah, I think to follow up from Ethan as well. Recently I read an article, Cambodia. They wanted to build a coal plant, but these days, no equity or institutional investors will lend money to build a coal power plant. So they have turned it into a solar and also the hydro plant. So you can see that money is a source of development. So that's number one, and also money also drive innovation in technology as well. So if we have no support from the money side, then there will be issues in coming up with new technology. And I think for my case, I want to zoom specifically into the oil majors, right? I mean, if you see the top 10 most profitable company in the world last year, 2023, I think good 5 or 6 are the oil majors company. So I won't name them, but they also came up with, there's this CCUS, which is called carbon capture and storage. And basically, there's a lot of discussion by scientists and other experts as well, whether is this really a good thing or a bad thing, right? For my side, it feels that it's more of a mitigation rather than creating something new. So, and also the scientists felt that it's unproven at this scale, and basically it's a distraction from policy to cut fossil fuel, but to actually let these polluters carry on with an excuse or license to burn fossil fuels. So I think this is something that I want to bring up.
And then, because we talked about the transition, right? But the part that you're now saying related to the oil companies, that's not the transition that we're aiming for. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, actually, I tell you a good, interesting story. About 2 years ago, I was invited by Thai Power, it's a government-owned power company, and to review their ESG report. And their president claimed, can we calculate if we cannot get any kind of loan because of a net zero by the financial institute in the future? When? And can we calculate the number? It's a number they cannot imagine about this one. So it's really happened in some of industry. And because I'm from the Taiwan Climate Partnership, and by my experience, there were 3 types of the thing. The first one is they are big boss, like renewable energy. They like the energy transition. They like their company green. For example, Delta Electronic, their founder, Mr. Zheng, and he focused about the transition, green transition. And second is they get a pressure from the supply chain. For example, iPhone, they promise 2030 should be net zero for each iPhone. So they push all their supply chain, you should be net zero. And the third one is most of the company, even the ICT industry, they got the pressure from the ESG fund. All of the assets, one third is you should be ESG funds. So ESG fund push them to be net zero. So I remember in COP26 in Glasgow, they have an institute called GFANS, Global Financial Net Zero Institute, talk about this. And each bank, insurance company, assets company, their money chain should be net zero before 2050. So it's a huge pressure to all of the climate change issues.
Yeah, the term net zero is, I think, now a trend to really push from all directions. And again, you were mentioning the push from the industry, like big companies like Apple. If they request their supply chain to be net zero, then everyone needs to fit in. And indeed, coming back to your point, in Taiwan there's many suppliers to Apple, which
I think the government also play a big part as well. Like the Dutch government, actually they go
Thank
to
you.
all their. I'm sorry to bring that up, but they actually go to all those big polluter, and then they actually. Talk, discuss, and if things doesn't work, there's a lawsuit, right? So things are being done by the government to implement policies, or even trying to make sure that the people actually follow the policy. And if they don't, then the lawsuit will come to you. So I think it's not for the companies. It's not all about profit, but I think these days, like what Dr. Perm mentioned, the company come themselves out to try to explore. What can they do more? What can they do before the government comes to them? Yeah. Right, I think that's a good motivation.
Yeah, I can tell. So indeed, from the Netherlands. So these lawsuits are really interesting, and a lot of people are following it. It's big in the news, trying to understand indeed what we can do as a government. There's a lot of NGO-related organizations in the Netherlands to see how we can steer the transition in the right direction, as we're hoping for. Elvin, you mentioned before also energy strategies that you should have as countries, as companies, as individuals. What kind of energy strategies can we think of? I know many of you work offshore wind, so feel free to also include that. But yeah, maybe from a broad, we can start with you from a broad perspective. What should we be looking at for energy strategies?
It might become a bit political if I talk about this. But basically, I felt that, of course, at the moment, we cannot just go all out and go for renewable energy, right? At the moment, renewable energy is not enough to cover the base load, and I'm sure the Taiwanese people or anyone in the world doesn't want to have a power outage. That brings me to the point, we need a stable energy, a base load. So it can be at the moment filled in by gas, but of course in the future, gas also has carbon as well, right? So it's not exactly clean. So, and then we should have different sources. It could be nuclear, it could be solar, it could be renewables. So everything should be there. But of course, renewable energy in the longer term will try to reduce the number of all this more carbon-related energy supply. Yeah.
So do I also hear indeed the big ambition to renewables, but being realistic?
Exactly.
Yeah.
We should.
Okay. Well, from your side, Wen, do you have any?
Yeah, for me, I kind of echoing to Alvin, and actually, I would say we should open for all the options. Like we think about Taiwan is a small island, and we are kind of like have really dense population here. So we have limited free land, but it's good we are islands, so we are surrounded by the ocean. So of course, following your question, offshore wind should be one of the most important options for us to meet net zero target. So that's a thing we definitely need to do, because it's provide you kind of base load, and you know this is your baseline that you can achieve. And at the same time, that we should always focus on different energy option, like including solar. And solar is, solar have different types of solar power as well. Like you can have rooftop, you can have fish pump, dual use solar. So my message for no matter it's government or corporate is you should open to all those options. And if you are corporate, you need to think about what's your best strategy. I mean, the strategy could be, okay, in the short term, you should adopt more solar on your rooftop solar. And in the long term, you probably need to invest in some maybe fish pump or maybe ground solar or maybe onshore wind, offshore wind, you need to participate. And in the longer term, if you think about your business model, you think about your business development, maybe 2030, then you know that is energy you need, then you need to think about how can you achieve. So, this is actually a planning for yourself. You need to know your business, you need to know what's available in the market, and also you need to invest to the potential options.
Yeah.
So that's actually the plan, and you need to think about right now, and probably you need to take action tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, so here you're saying like governments, they should look at indeed the circumstances related to where they're located. For Taiwan, indeed being an island, population on the west coast, of course a lot of mountains, that brings different aspects on how you can implement your energy strategy. And then, but you also refer to companies having an energy strategy, and which also means you need to look at the circumstances you can work with.
Yes, so especially I think it's a lot of I have this experience with clients that they only think about, okay, right now I need to pay the bill for my electricity. But now the questions change. As all the topic we mentioned about today is you need to think about 5 years, 10 years later, what will your electricity bill look like? And how can you secure? Maybe another point, maybe geothermal will be quite potential in Taiwan. But everybody knows geothermal probably is still not mature at this moment. But if you are corporate, then you need to put this onto your pocket, your bucket, because it could be available maybe 6 years or 7 years later. And if you are front runner into that area, you understand that. Because a lot of experience when I engage with my clients, they suddenly need to deal with offshore wind, and they have no idea, and they don't know the technology, they don't know the market, they don't know how it works. So it's actually take maybe 1 or 2 years for them to understand that. So you do, as I also mentioned in another topic, saying it take times, and you need to do it right now, because it take you 1 or 2 years time to learning. And for this learning process, is actually your clock is ticking, and so you don't actually you probably need to pay more money, or you get into your carbon anxiety more. So you need to think about that. You need to have a list, and you need to understand what is more potential, what's your short-term engagement, what's your mid-term target, and long-term.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Wen. Ethan, your ideas.
Yeah, I think I totally align with Elvin and Wen, because I think for this topic it's very significant. I think from a consequence point of view, I ever had a client who is an international industrial gas manufacturer. For the electricity expense is more than 50% of their cost of the production. So meaning that is very significant. So what the energy strategy, I think no matter for the government or for the corporate, is that we need to plan ahead, and we need to be open-minded. And go back to Taiwan, I think, Wen and Elvin already shared in the data point as well. I think in Taiwan, we have the particular natural condition here, so that we can now count on each energy supply from outside. So we need to develop our own energy capacity, which is renewable. So that in Taiwan, we have limited of land and to use, so that makes things more complicated. Even though that we have a solar to develop for more than 10 years, and that is very mature. However, we need to think about other resources, like what Wen just mentioned, the geothermal. And of course, geothermal, it takes time to explore and to construction. So that I think in front of us, I think offshore wind farm will be definitely the most important resources of our renewable, because there is no complicated issue from the land, and the upside from the offshore wind right now is very significant. So that is a kind of a mature, renewable resource for production, for construction. So that I think for now, offshore wind farm definitely will be our best choice to develop for renewable for Taiwan. But for our resources, definitely we need to explore and to keep on the right track, and to have more options for our future.
Yeah, great. Thanks a lot. Dr. Pang, I give you the word on energy strategy.
Okay, I just helped one very important energy foundation. They did a public survey about the climate change, energy transition. The result is quite interesting. About 80 to 90% of Taiwanese totally agree the climate change, and they want to do something. But when we ask the real things, for example, what is the real energy knowledge, only less than 20% people, Taiwanese, can answer the correct. For example, what's our energy use, the main energy we use? Lots of people claim it's nuclear. Lots of people think it's coal. It's totally different. And when we ask about, will you like to promote the renewable energy? It depends on the color. For example, green color, more. Blue color, less. And would you like to raise the money of the power price, the energy price, or water price? Also different color. So that means, for example, that's why, because the people do not understand the real, what is energy transition, or any kind of knowledge about climate change. And what they can do is, they can get is from the politician. And the politician very easily to choose green or blue. So it's very simplified political option about this. I think it's very risky here. So I recommend probably such a kind of program, we should have more discussion in Taiwan, not talk about some of the talking about politics every day. We should talk about energy because, for example, European Union, just I know, there were lots of conversation between the private sector, the people, and the government. It's a long journey, but we need this. If we cannot concentrate to agree to one policy, only the green or blue, it's very dangerous. Our energy transition will be very unstable about this one. But my point of view, because for example, 1 month ago, I saw the report from the LinkedIn. The renewable energy job is triple, but the traditional fossil fuel energy job is going down. So it's very clear the job in Taiwan and also in global also have choose the answer.
We
should add something, because a lot of times people look at the negative image of offshore wind, right? There's a lot of it's very expensive, it's high price, and it's not very stable. But of course, if I look at it another way, it's high price because of the current situation where there's a lack of supply, lead time is long, and also, but eventually, LCOE, the leverage cost of for energy for offshore wind, is the highest drop in the last 10 to 20 years. It will continue to drop because the bigger turbine, everything is arranged in time, so price will drop. And the fact about offshore wind compared to other sources of energy in Taiwan, like solar, like geothermal, it's large scale, it's very big scale, it's like hundreds of megawatt, whereas one solar farm may be 50, 100, but there's a lot of them, right? So it's easier to develop one big, large scale offshore wind farm compared to a very small. But we should also focus on the small ones, but the easier to go into renewable energy will be offshore wind farm. And it's away from the land, people don't see it that much, so the pollution, the noise pollution or whatever that the bad negative image associating to onshore wind will not be as evident offshore. So I think I'm a big proponent of offshore wind.
Yeah. I also hear actually part that Dr. Pang mentioned related to, I think, education, on indeed knowing what we are talking about, and indeed even in the public knowing what we are talking about. Hopefully people learn a little bit more today. We've been talking about actions that people can do, or corporates can do, or governments can do. And now I'm actually challenging the four of you. What do you think you should do? And what are you going to do together with your company related to offshore wind or reducing carbon? I start here.
Okay, cool. So again, I'm from Naras. So Naras, we actually joined the first offshore wind farm in Denmark. So we have really long history with the offshore wind industry. And nowadays in Taiwan or globally, we can provide from technology side, environmental side, and market and permit concept. So we provide a whole lifespan service and different perspectives of support for our clients. We can help you to bring the wind farm, we can help to understand the market, and we can solve, and we can provide a solution or give you the advice for any kind of potential question the developer or the supply chain will have. We have the strong commitment for sustainable future. So we are really glad to help all our clients, no matter you are from the developer side or supply chain side, even from the corporate side, help you to understand what is offshore wind and what you need to do and how you can deliver your project smoothly and nicely in your order.
Great, thank you. Ethan.
Yeah, I think everyone knows that the PwC is a traditional audit firm, right? But actually, we are not doing just for auditing. We are already do the tax. We are also do the financial advisory, and we are also do the legal counsel advisory. So that in terms of PwC, we provide different services to all of our industry. And then right now we set up this task force, which is, I just mentioned, the New Energy Business Services. We aim for provide all of these services integrated for all of our clients in the all value chain. I think we would like to help our client as a coordinator to link with each other in this value chain or supply chain. And I also personally, I would like to voice out that for my responsibility or my friend's responsibility is to try to voice out for more and more funds to get into this industry, especially for the state-owned financial institutions. Given that our government's policy is to develop the renewable sector or renewable resource more and more, and for those who owns most liquidity, which is the state-owned banks or state-owned financial institutions, I think they should do more. And who can, guide them and who can instruct them to do more is our government. So everyone links together. So I think from now on, I think I will continuously to voice out and to pursue or encourage our state-owned financial institutions or banks to support this industry more and more.
Thank you, Ethan. Alvin.
Yes, so likewise, Jumbo Consulting Group, we are also been involved. We are a young company, we're only 6 years old, but we've been involved in more than 40, 50 wind farms in the world. So trying to bring wind farm to financial close, to get a business case, to make it work. And of course, we also have a subsidiary company which is called RECOA, Renewable Construction Academy. So we do role-based learning to help the industry try to have qualified people to work in our industry where there's a lack of manpower. I think that's something that we try to do. And one thing that come up as well when because I just joined the company, and we have this thing called the climate moment. It's very interesting because when my previous company, we talk about safety moment, talk about safety. But these days, we should always, every other meeting we have, we talk about climate. Something that we observe in the market. Like for example, recently the last one I attended is FMCG, all the fast-moving consumer goods. They've been making so many new things, but do we need them? Is there another option? Is there another alternative? So things like this brings awareness, not just creating new energy, but also trying to recycle, trying to reuse, and I think we should all talk about it. The more we talk about it, the more we are aware, and I think this is something that my company at least has been doing it over the last year, and I think it's quite interesting to share.
Thank you, Alvin.
Yeah, I'm a weatherman. Sometimes we can say Taiwan Strait is a wonderful wind farm in the world because, for example, we have land, mountain between the Fujian and the Taiwan, and just like a water pipe, you press, the water will be very strong. So during the winter time, it's wonderful. Maybe around 100% efficiency. And during the summertime, even in summertime, no wind, but actually because the sea, land, breeze still have some circle there. So Taiwan Strait is a very wonderful for the renewable energy develop. And also in South Taiwan and most of the area, we still need more solar PV. And I think Taiwan, the energy between the renewable energy is totally different compared to the traditional fossil fuel industry. So I think Taiwan should follow the track of the global. And another role is about Taiwan Climate Partnership, and actually we need to buy the renewable energy. However, what I found is the ecosystem is not good enough. For example, CPPA. So it's not good for some of the ICT industry to buy, except the TSMC. So probably the ecosystem can be better and better in the future. It should be a kind of more dialogue in the future.
More dialogue for today. Unfortunately, the time's up. I'm going to try to summarize it, and at the same time, I'm going to thank all of you. Hope you're with me. We're talking about transitioning away from fossil fuels. I believe I heard it's booming. We're talking climate, we're talking net zero. A lot of people / organizations are aware. We're talking the collective, individuals, corporates, governments, everyone taking green actions and hopefully in the right direction. There were a few examples, not always the case. And we talk money. So if the funds are guiding all these, or the collective in the right direction, that will definitely help. Specifically related to Taiwan, amazing place, a lot of potential, a lot of things are happening. You're all active here, but much more can be done. And energy strategy-wise, look ahead. Things take time. At the same time, be open-minded, and hopefully work towards a net zero, carbon-reduced environment that we can all enjoy. I'm going to say big thanks to all of you. Thanks for your expertise and sharing what you think is important and what you think is going to or needs to happen. So thanks a lot, and we move later to the next panel.